Let's talk about element symbols and chemical formulas. Element symbols are one or two letter abbreviations of chemical names. And you can see here in my picture, I have Hg, where I've got this two-letter abbreviation. I also have AH, which this element doesn't actually exist, but I thought it was kind of funny. Sometimes you just have one-letter abbreviations, like for example, hydrogen is just written as H rather than HY or H something else. So some of them are one letters and some of them are two letters. The chemicals are named in different languages, so sometimes they match the English name and sometimes they don't. Like mercury, Hg, you might be wondering where on earth did that H and G come from. It's because mercury is named in a different language, and that's where the Hg is coming from. The first letter is always capitalized, and the second letter is always lowercase. And if you don't do that, then you'll probably lose points on an assessment. So make sure you capitalize the first letter and lowercase the second letter. In my class, I will ask you to memorize some of the elements, symbols, and names from the periodic table, not all of them, because part of being a chemist, or not being a chemist I should say, but part of being in this class is becoming fluent in the language of chemistry, so that later on, when we learn other topics, you don't have to go back and look up, oh my gosh, what was that element symbol? If you're watching this and you're in a different class other than mine, then your instructor might make different arrangements with you, so you'll need to check with them. But my students, you have access to the Things to Memorize sheet, and it lists the elements, symbols, and names that you need to know. That brings us to chemical formulas. Chemical formulas are essentially a list of all the element symbols present in the formula, and then there are numerical prefixes, I should say not prefixes, oh my goodness, that's a typo. They are subscripts, subscripts, to the right of the element indicating how many are present. So let's take an example down here. For instance, BaCl2, you see that 2 is listed there, but there's no 1 listed for the Ba. So 1s are left off because they're sort of implied. And then if you have any number of elements beyond 1, then there should be a numerical prefix. The other thing that you might run into, we see here down in the third example, is a polyatomic ion. So PO4 is actually the phosphate ion, also a small amount of those that you have to memorize so that you recognize them when you see them. And polyatomic ions, because we're talking about the fact that we have 2 phosphates here, not 2 phosphoruses and 8 oxygens, have parentheses around them if there's more than 1. So in this example, I asked you to identify how many of each type of element there are. So let's take a moment. You can stop the video, count them up, and then come back and see if you got them right. So in this first compound, in this first formula, I have 1 barium, 1 Ba, and I have 2 chlorine. In the second one, I have 1 carbon. I have 4 hydrogens because I've got 3 here and then another one right there, and then 1 oxygen. In the third one, I have 3 calciums, and then this 2 simply multiplies across. So I have 2 phosphorus and 8 oxygen.